one night, we were putting Alex to bed and my water broke. There was no warning or indication or...
The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
How many weeks were you at that point?
22 weeks and 1 day. The doctor came in and talked to us and said, you know, this happens sometimes. It's not, it doesn't mean it's over. We hadn't given up hope at that time, at that point. The baby was making more fluid, but I was not able to retain it. And so she talked to us about what that meant. And, you know, and we learned that the uterus is a muscle, and without the fluid there, the baby can't move their arms and legs. And so the baby would be born with contractures. They wouldn't be able to move their limbs. And the head of the skull is still pretty soft, and because of the muscle pushing on, that the face and head would have deformities, and that it's not likely that the baby's lungs would develop past 22 weeks and 1 day when my water broke. So even if we did carry the pregnancy further, and we decided to try heroic measures with ventilation and stuff, she may not have the anatomy to maintain. You know, even if we put her on a ventilator, you have to have the anatomy to have the ventilator help. And I've said through this ordeal many times, I don't want to be a person that doesn't believe in miracles, but I think that day was, I quit. My hope was gone. I had none left. There are things worse than death. And we asked her, at what point do we go from doing everything we can as good parents to save our child to being completely selfish and putting our child through what essentially would be torture? The odds were to take a baby home with a heartbeat and breathing and nothing more were like less than 10%.
It was like, I think it was less than 5%.
And then bringing home a baby that was that had any quality of life was like less than 2% or something. And we just couldn't do that to our child, or to us, or to Alex. I mean, it was a big picture kind of decision. So the doctor came back in, and we told her that, you know, we wanted to just let nature take its course. We didn't want to try a ventilator. We didn't want to try any of that. And we said, you know, we'd like to just put an end to this nightmare. Can you help us? And she said, no, I can't. She checked and she tried, and she said, if your baby still has a heartbeat and you're still healthy, you just have to wait. I think the most poignant conversation we had is, I told Rob, I don't know what to pray for. I don't know, you know, do I pray for a miracle? Or do I pray that I get sick enough that we can end this? The line I drew, I couldn't pray that my baby, the heart stopped beating. Like that wasn't on the table. I couldn't pray for that. And Rob said his line was
I can't pray for my wife to be sick.
My doctor called me the next day, and he had talked to the perinatalogist, and he called me the next day, and he said, I talked to, and these are my words, not his. I don't remember exactly the words he used, but basically he talked to his lawyer friends or whatever, and tried to figure out
what he could do for us.
What he could do for us, yeah. But there wasn't anything he could do for us. He told me that he could face criminal charges and jail time, and he could lose his medical license and and several times that day, Dr. Pankratz came and talked to me and said, I think he was just trying to prepare me for things, and he said, you know, the delivery part may take a while because baby's not big enough to put the pressure like a full-term baby, and so you know, she won't be. At that point, we didn't know it was a girl, but the baby won't be born alive. You know, yeah. No parent wants to lose a child. I mean, that's worse than your own death, and so dealing with that was awful. I mean, There's no other word. It was awful. But to have to sit and think about it for 10 days, and that was, it's unimaginable. It's indescribable. It was, Rob has said several times that it was torture for us. And I remember thinking, every time my baby moved, it was heart-wrenching because I should be happy. I should be rejoicing in the movements I'm feeling inside me. And all I could think about was the muscle and pushing on my baby. And is she hurting? Is it uncomfortable for her in there? You know, this should be like the ultimate comfort for her, being in the womb. And now is it the ultimate hurt for her? I mean, it was awful.
We knew we were going to have to grieve, but to have that delayed,
Yeah.
you know,
I tried.
to not even be able to start the grieving process, to be, and you know, and I haven't been able to come up with a better word, but it was torture for that whole time that we knew that we were not going to have a good outcome to when it actually happened, and knowing that there was nothing we could do.
And she was born, and we held her, and
she was actually...
she was breathing.
Trying to.
Yeah, she wasn't breathing. She was... So I said, and I knew the answer, but I had to ask, and I asked him, is there anything? And he, of course, said no, and I knew that, but there was just something about seeing her trying to breathe, and I had to ask. And the nurse said, try to watch for when she stops so we can record the time of death. 3:15 she died.
One or the other of us held her the entire time.
You know how many minutes?
15. She was born at 3.
She was born at 3 and died at 3:15.
We named her Elizabeth after Rob's grandma. And she was perfect. I mean, she was tiny, and she had eyelashes 3 miles long, and she...
like your brother.
I just wanted to see something wrong, like a cleft palate or a missing toe or just something I could put my head around, you know, some anomaly.
There's something else wrong.
That there was something else, that it was her and not me, maybe, I don't know. That she was perfect, and she was beautiful. Our hands were tied. Like, I've said a few times that, you know, the outcome of my pregnancy, that choice was made by God, and I feel like how to handle the end of my pregnancy, that choice should have been mine. And it wasn't, because of a law. And, you know, no matter what our politics are, it's irrelevant. We wanted nothing more than to have our baby and take her home and take care of her and raise her. And that wasn't an option for us. And I'm hoping that I can make a difference for someone else, so someone else doesn't have to wait.
We certainly shouldn't have had to have gone through this.
Yeah.
But we did. You know, and if we can help to prevent somebody else from having to go through it, you know, I guess for lack of a better term, at least some good could come out of it.
You know, they put words out there like the Partial Birth Abortion Act. Well, gosh, nobody wants a partial birth abortion. Like, that sounds so gruesome, but that's not what this was about. That's not, our situation got lumped in with that. I think my first goal is to hopefully change things as these new laws are being passed, because I just want there to be something that says that it's okay when it's, you know, that it doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be after 20 weeks this is the rule. You know, there's got to be a caveat to the unthinkable.
There's got to be some people besides us that fall through the cracks.
Yeah. The ramifications of these laws can affect people negatively, obviously. I mean, we are proof of that. And so even if these laws get passed, there should be some verbiage that says this is illegal unless. Like, there should be some wording that allows for the doctor and the mother to make the right decision for her health and her family. We wanted nothing more than to bring our baby home, and we were not allowed to have that conversation. I mean, we had the conversation, but we weren't allowed to act upon it. And I just think that they just need to slow down and think about the ramifications of the absoluteness of the way things are worded.
Yeah, I don't think in any way that they did, you know, the legislature considered this situation. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the problem. They need to consider the possible outcomes. I get so frustrated. I just think that if they thought about their daughter, their sister, their mother, their wife being in this situation, they would never want them to go through that.